And what's going on, everyone? In this video we're going to talk about moving to Australia. I'm going to share with you my 4-year life transformation, included with the benefits and the downsides of living here. If you are thinking about relocating over to Australia or even traveling this country, then this video may be for you. All that plus some exciting news towards the end, so make sure you stick around. Let's get into it. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video. If you are new and just joining, what's going on? My name is Benjamin Harding. I am a video creator and I put up videos on all my personal experiences. These are often normally contain long-term travel, self-development and health and fitness. So if that is your kind of vibe, consider subscribing. To recap on what's happened since my last video, I have been back to work. I've been working at a place called the Hillary's Beach Club as a duty manager, which has been an absolutely amazing experience. After the new year came in, I decided to have a big reflection on 2023, everything that's happened, all of the mistakes I made, all of the lessons I've learned, and this video has actually been on my mind for a while. However, I never felt that confident to talk about it until now. As of literally the time we're recording this video, in about 3 or 4 weeks, it will be my 4-year anniversary of living here in Australia. And obviously that's over 4 different states of Victoria, Queensland, Northern Territory, and now here in WA. After all this experience and personal knowledge, I feel very confident to bring this new video to your screens. One of the most upsetting feelings that you can feel is regret. Regret. Feel sad, repentant or disappointed over something that one has done or failed to do. Overall, my 10 years of relocating and travel, I've come to realise I've never felt regret from making a travel decision. It's actually quite the opposite. I'd often regret not going and travelling more. This is why at the age of 27, I decided to leave Oxfordshire, UK, my hometown, and book a one-way flight to the other side of the world, to Melbourne, Victoria, in Australia. Little did I know how much of an impact this one decision would have on my future. For context, I'm going to share with you this life transformation that I've seen in myself from this one decision across 4 years of living here in Australia. Benny in January 2020. This is a time where I was feeling lost, confused and very hesitant. I honestly had no clue what I was doing with my life. I didn't know where I wanted to live in the world. I didn't know where I wanted to travel to, and I didn't know where I wanted to work full-time as well. My physical health was actually at the best it's ever been, but my mental, my emotional, my spiritual and my social health was a complete mess. In other words, the outside of me, my physique at the time, looked great. The muscles, the aesthetics, the looks. But the inside of me, what was going on internally, needed a lot of work, and that was not a focus that I had back then in 2020. Lacking in different types of community. Now, when I was back home, I had obviously my closest and best friends and my family, and I do love them so dearly. But one thing that I was lacking in was social connection in a strong growth mindset community. of like self-development and progression and transformation. Lacking in collaborations. For example, trying to find innovative and aspiring people to collaborate with on similar interests. This I found really hard. Lacking in purpose. I wanted to feel like I'm making a difference in the world. Being in my hometown was great, it was good, but I just felt like I was destined for something a lot bigger. Lacking in creativity and long-term happiness. When I was at home, I felt like I just lacked a bit of creativity because I just was glued to my routine. I would wake up in the morning, I'd go to the gym, I'd work out, I'd go to work, and it would just be on a constant cycle. I was going out with friends here or there, but I was never really doing those sort of adventure lifestyle things that I get the opportunity to do here. And lastly, I was lacking in travel knowledge about new places to live. Australia actually never really entered my mind until Southeast Asia, when I first started putting up the videos for this channel. And honestly, I've got to massively thank Nick Coles for this back then, because he really did support me in making those videos, even if it was literally on an iPhone, iMovie, and a really old GoPro. But then as I transitioned into learning about everything of like the creativity and the vision and the travels, and just realised how much I loved it, that's why I became more intrigued to be like, oh well, what if I go do that over in Australia as a solo traveller and repeat the process of the videography and try that. One of the biggest reasons to why I feel like I left Australia so late is because, in all honesty, it's just so damn far away. Another thing with that is that the effort to make it happen and to make it come to fruition, to make it reality, was a lot bigger and a lot greater than other trips that I've booked in the past, you know. But I do feel that the pain points and what I was feeling at that point in time when I got back from Southeast Asia was also a lot as well, and that, in my opinion, was greater than booking the trip and for the effort of booking the trip to go to Australia. Okay, so 4 years later, Benny, in January 2024, I'm feeling clear-headed, a lot more mindful, successful. I finally know what I'm supposed to do on this earth, and that is building my businesses / my brands, live my dream here in Australia, and travel out and to fulfill all these life experiences of different locations, different places, and also meet loads of cool new people in the process and build communities. My holistic health is literally the best it's ever been, and that's all 5 pillars. For example, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and also socially. Surrounded by all types of community. Here in Perth, WA, I've been to quite a few different events. For example, I've done cold nips dips early in the morning at 5 AM. We've gone for like coffees and had good social connection and chats. I've done breath work with them and yoga with them. I've also done Mingle West Coast, where I went to North Fremantle for like an event where you socialise, you chat, you do like a few little community games, and you meet loads of new people from all over the world. And then also I've got my work communities. For example, I built that up from working at the Aluka down the road here, and then when I transferred to work at the Hillary's Beach Club as a manager, this is another place where I got the opportunity to build on that work community and nurture those relationships, those friendships, those connections, built and networked with over 300 plus collaborations. And this is in life and in business, online and offline. For example, when I first started to build Seek Collective, a travel and adventure brand, I wanted to message out to a lot of different people online through Instagram DM, just to share their content media on our page, to share their own personal experiences with our community. I started doing that like a couple of years ago. Now it's built up to over 300 plus. And not only that, but it's also allowed me to socialize in a way that gives the digital creator, the media that we're using for our community pages, value, because it's getting more eyes on their content, and it's also establishing a connection from where you go from being a stranger online to being someone that can help them with value and a service, or just help them get more eyes on their content, and then that establishes more of a connection online. Feeling a strong sense of purpose. This is one of my favorite ones. For example, becoming a manager of a beach club venue that is literally so popular and in such a beautiful location here in Hillary's in Perth, WA. Another one would be becoming a travel and self-development coach here on YouTube, sharing all of my experience and my value out to those that are going through similar situations and that use the videos to help better their life. Which then moves me on to the next one. I've built 2 online brands that help the human population solve a specific problem. One brand is in travel and adventure, and the other is in self-development, but they both live under the education umbrella. Consistently working towards my goals here in WA, Perth WA, to build my dream life here. The consistency, in my opinion, is definitely compounded, especially when I look back over these 4 years. I have such a bigger, vast appreciation for this, not only this journey, but this practice of working towards your goals and becoming better at building what you want to have in this life and for the future. Travelled long term across 4 different states here in Oz. By car, by plane, by bus, by train, by taxi, by bike, by foot, through the unknown, as a solo traveller, in a foreign country, on the other side of the world. The reason I share this transformation with you is because I want to show you what is possible. What you do today in your present life, the amount of time that you put into your health and your routines, your businesses, your full-time job, your relationships will massively determine your happiness and the life you live on this planet Earth. Okay, now the biggest of questions. Why Australia? I'm so glad you asked. Let's jump into it. Benefits of living in Australia. The weather is generally better across majority of the states for longer times of the year. Depending on which state you live in, for example, as we spoke about in previous videos, with the seasons in the Northern Territory, whether it be wet season or dry season, but then also if you're going further south, so for example on the East Coast in Victoria, obviously their winter months can be like 4 seasons in one day. So depending on where you are in Australia, but normally as a rule of thumb, on the West Coast and the East Coast, right in the middle, their winters are generally not that rainy. Like honestly, they are, as in comparison to the UK and or England or whatever, like it's pretty damn good. Massive country to travel with such an abundant supply of travel experiences that you can do in a variety of different states and different locations, different places here. Awesome business opportunities, for example, higher wages in hospitality, casual penalty rates. At the moment of what I'm on, from working from a Monday through till Sunday, you're on X amount per the week, Monday to Thursday, Friday, and then on Saturdays and Sundays you get penalty rates, which means your wage goes up per hour because it's a weekend. And especially if you do overtime as well, then you get more money for doing that. Whenever I worked over in the UK or Europe as a bartender, during Christmas, during New Year, you'd be on the same rate. Whereas here, you get paid an X penalty rate, which is like normally time and a half, or even double time for bank holidays and those holiday rates. With these higher wages, this gives you a better ability to generate wealth and to put some away for a rainy day and utilize that for your present and for your future. Thriving communities in all cities in Australia, especially Perth. Already spoke about this, but a few examples to summarize would be Cold Nips, Mingle West Coast, Hillary's Beach Club, Rise and Run Club, and so much more. A variety of desirable locations to live. For example, you could be on the coast in this beautiful part of WA, or in Gold Coast, also really gorgeous. You could be inland, countryside, or you could be in a nice apartment in the city somewhere. The health benefits here are some of the best in the world. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've been to the docs a few times for like injuries and for dentist appointments and whatnot, and I've used my Medicare card majority of the time, and I've always got a rebate on consultation fees and x-rays and scans and all that sort of stuff. But the one thing that I flipping love here is that it doesn't take that much time, in my opinion, to be seen by a doctor or a dentist and to get it booked in and to get the procedure done as soon as possible. In the UK, there'd be so many, like, the wait times would be huge. You take ages to get seen, and when you do get seen, yeah, it's good, but the faster the better, in my opinion. And if the service is also really good and doesn't cost you that much, depending on what you're doing, then that's a win in my opinion as well. Okay, so now we move on to the downsides. There's got to be a few. Where you have your pros, you have your cons, obviously, but I have written down a few workarounds for these downsides. So one of the first is being away from your closest friends and your family for long periods of time. A one-way flight direct from London Heathrow to Perth, WA is about 17-18 hours. That is a long time to travel if you're only going for a couple days or for a week. This is why, over the accumulation of the last 4 years, I've gone back home twice, because I've been able to go home, stay home for like at least 6 weeks plus, and then come back again and actually make the use of the time over there, form those connections with my family and friends again, and make the use out of that time. So the workaround with this is getting a higher salary from your job, whether it's like a side hustle or your full-time job, full-time gig or whatever, and then using that and putting that away to spend that on flights to go home more often. Cost of living here in Australia is high, especially if you're using your wages and your money saved from countries like the UK or Asia or other places that the wages aren't as high. A good workaround with this though is that, and I saw this especially when I got to Melbourne those 4 years ago, is that when I got here, I started working as soon as I possibly could. So I got on those Aussie wages as soon as possible. When I started earning from those Aussie wages, that allowed me to increase my cost of living and my expenditure and my wages to pay for and to match that cost of living. Cost of travel to get here. Your flights, your trains, your buses, if you add all these up for how long you are traveling, this can add up to a substantial amount. I remember when I booked my flight, it cost in the grands. Workaround with this is that I make it a clear objective that when I do book the flight, I do go back home for a substantial period of time, where it'd be like 4 to 6 weeks, so I can make the most out of it. And then obviously with the higher wage that I mentioned earlier, then obviously I could do more of those trips, depending on flexibility and what's needed of me here. And finally, big news to share with you all. I've decided to dive deeper into giving value, and by starting a coaching service online through all of my socials. Over the last year, I've literally received so many inspiring comments and messages from you all of your own experiences, how the videos have helped you and how you want to build your dream life in a new location as well. Diving deeper into this, I want to provide more of a direct service from me to you, and that is why I built a questionnaire which allows me to learn more about you. In this questionnaire, you answer 8 questions. These questions tell me a lot about yourself, about your situation, and about what you so desire, your pain points, your fears, your desires. So then I can figure out if we'd be a great match and if I could help you along this journey of making that dream location of yours a reality. The online form takes 2 minutes to fill out, and the online consultation call is free. So the only investment is your time. 2024 is here. What will you choose to do? And that brings us on to the end of another vid. Massive thank you for watching. Hope you've gained some insights, some value from this one. If you have, be sure to give us a nice big thumbs up. Subscribe for more content coming soon to this channel. And we'll see you all back in the next episode. Take care, guys. See you later.